we see LCS teams fall back to when they don't have their farm-type champions. There's a lot of options available for them.
So, first ban out of the gate here for Cloud9 Eclipse is Morgana. Now, we'll see if that changes, or that's a ban because number one, Super Ace is a fantastic Morgana player, or number two, whether they want to run something heavier engaged like the Leona in that bottom lane. Bans coming in quickly, so let's skip through. Zig's taken away, we mentioned that already. Yes. Kha'Zix's also taken away from the jungle. He's had a slight change, I think we can safely call it, with his ultimate now not giving the tower reduction that it had before. Tower damage reduction, that's the one I'm trying to get to. And LeBlanc taken out here as well.
Again, Febiven likes to play those assassins, so the Zed was still up, the Riven is still up for him. We'll see what Denial decide to remove from play. As far as those top laners go, Shyvana is still available, as well as that Trundle. And we touched on the fact that Babunya loves Mundo. So, final ban, I think these are fairly safe, fairly predictable picks and ban phases from both of these teams.
So, as you said, Mundo. Evelynn then the final ban here for Denial. Don't want Co running around with that invisible threat coming out of the jungle. The first pick was actually locked in very, very quickly. Nidalee for the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's two reasons. Number one, Febiven's going to be on a comfortable champion. Let's not rule out the fact we've seen Nidalee's top. We're not expecting it. What I do want to touch on is this Master E. It's basically an insta-lock from Denial. We touched on how powerful the Feral Flare is. It is an item that upgrades from Wriggle's Lantern, gives you attack damage, attack speed, and it scales infinitely. Every time you kill a large monster, get a kill or assist, it gains additional damage and additional health on hit. So on champions like Master Yi, who are always in your face, who are always running you down with their passive getting, double strikes on multiple attacks, it works incredibly effectively. And I'm very excited to see it because Master Yi was for a long time considered a lower tier champion, and now we're seeing it in the upper echelons in the hands of these challenger guys.
I think the last time we've seen it was maybe 2 years ago by now. Alex Ich running it in the middle, IPL 5, if memory serves me correctly. But we are moving on from that one because the pick's coming out quickly here. Lucian, and there's the Leona that we thought about with Morgana banned away for Cloud9.
So what we're already seeing on the side of Denial, you've got a pretty strong scaling champions. Yi in the early game, he has no crowd control. He does have some damage to boot, he does have some sustain, and he can become a monstrous split pusher. You combine that with the fact that we're expecting Ryze to run teleport, maybe getting distortion. He can also split push effectively. The one problem for Denial, it's going to take them time to scale up. So they cannot afford to catch Nidalee spears early or get engaged upon by this Leona and Lucian. If they do, their long scaling can be delayed, and that's where Cloud9 are going to have an opportunity to pounce.
Kale and Twitch, the third and fourth picks here for Denial. Very, very interesting team that they're putting together. What are Cloud9 going to finish with? We've seen already that Mundo taken away. They're looking for that top laner and a jungler. The junglers themselves, or more importantly, Co being banned out of this one. Evelynn and Kha'Zix taken away from him.
It's a difficult position for Cloud9 Eclipse right now for their top lane, because if they put Renekton into a matchup against Ryze, it's one that many of the pros feel Ryze is a counter. In a similar situation, if you put a Trundle up there, Ryze is going to be able to bully Trundle quite effectively in those early levels. And if he gets some jungle assistance just from the damage of Yi, plus the Rune Prison and some damage from Ryze, I do think there is some kill threat. So we'll see what Cloud9 decide to lock in. That Kale, we are expecting it to go to the mid lane for NIQ. Nick, rather, he has also played it in the past. So you've got a lot of damage, you've got a lot of AoE from the members of Denial. And we'll see who they lock in as their support.
So Cloud9 Eclipse finishing off with Lee Sin. We should mention, of course, 4.5 patch. Lee Sin had his change to Safeguard, which I know a lot of people have discussed about Lee Sin and how that's going to affect him. Apparently, Co thinks that he is still very much a strong champion coming in, and Shyvana in that top lane for Odoamne.
So, typical champion here for Odoamne with that Shyvana is going to be able to farm from range, at least with his Flame Breath, can try to keep away from Ryze. I wonder if Cloud9 may want to try force a lane swap to try and shut the Ryze down a little bit more. I think they would have the opportunity. It would be difficult for taking towers though, because of course you've got that melee support. It makes life a bit more difficult unless you pull in that jungler. If you pull in Lee Sin, all of a sudden you have the opportunity to take those towers. I think there's a little bit of disparity in the Cloud9 composition because you've got this all-in Shyvana, all-in Lee Sin, all-in Leona, and then Nidalee that never wants to go in. So I think, in theory, they're hoping that Fabian's going to land some good spears, and once people get low, then they're going to jump in there with those very aggressive champions and just allow Lucian, Siobhan, and Lee Sin to clean up those team fights.
So, final pick here then for Denial. Support pick, or will it be a support pick? That's the interesting thing. Taking Lulu last of all, a champion which we've seen Febiven already playing in that mid lane previously, but it looks like they're going to switch off and have the Kayle actually in that support role. We've seen Kayle support in the L-Sis, there is still time.
So the reason I say there's still time, Lulu in patch 4.5 has had her help picks changed. It only lasts on a target for 4 seconds. You can't get 2 glitter lancers off a single help picks. In addition, you can no longer put help picks on a minion, which means that very safe lane poke of help pixing a minion and then glitter lancing from range is no longer available to you. The fact that they're sticking with this means Nick is supremely confident and supremely comfortable on this Lulu. It may be to do with the fact that Nidalee's not the strongest of early laners either, so it could just be a super farm mid lane. But I do think that mid lane Lulu is so much less of a bully and so much less of a threat in those early stages of the game.
And let's move away from mid lane Lulu and talk about support Kayle here. We've seen it N-rated for SK Gaming, obviously, in the LCS. There we go, tongue-tied. I'm still not sure how impressed I was with that Kayle support, but it does have its strong points.
Yeah, so, you know, with the Kayle support, you do have the ability to early pressure a lane. You have got that splash damage from a Righteous Fury. In addition, you've got a heal. You can save a single target. Single target saving is great, especially when you're against a Nidalee. The moment you see Febiven roaming around the map or getting involved, if a spear's about to land, you can save them with that intervention. The reason I'm not entirely convinced about Kayle is that in a support role, she's never really going to get enough gold to have a large amount of damage. So we'll have to see how Super Ace is going to build her, because we've also got some changes to the itemization. You've got the Forbidden Idol thrown in there. You've got that Ether Wisp as well. So there's some new routes that Denial can take.
So let's have a look down some of the summoner spells here, because as we predicted, there are some changes coming in. Febiven going with Barrier in mid lane there on Nidalee, but Hjarnan taking the heal. Voidal sticking with Flash Ignite this time around. If we look on the other side, it's actually Super as the support who's picked up the heal for Denial.
Yeah, and we do see that Woolite has actually picked himself up that cleanse. I think that is a very smart pickup against the likes of this Leona. The moment she goes in, you're in trouble. We'll get to that in a second. Hjarnan should be able to get away. Glitter Lance doesn't connect.
Very, very close there. That slow may have just forced him to burn his flash at this early stage of the game, but Denial not messing around here. They're going to push straight on through into that brush, get themselves a ward down, and looking like they will, in fact, start to back off. Really, there wasn't much of a reaction to that from Cloud9. They actually stuck to their positions. We can see that Leona's on that top side of the map, so wondering if they're going to try something of their own.
I think this is mostly just for support of this invade. As Denial grouped up as 5, one of the reasons you go for that aggressive play, whether you push into a bush as 5 or hold one of your own, it's just to reduce the risk of someone getting caught out. As long as you're sticking together as a 5-man, it is reliable safety. And if somebody from Cloud9 is there, you can count on your early game abilities to work in your favor. So at the end of the day, Denial don't get anything from that invade. They get a little bit of deep vision, and it actually looks like they will be losing the first buff.
Red buff invade here for Cloud9. 4 men actually there, only Nidalee away from the pack currently in that middle lane. And this is going to be an easy red. The question then is, will Denial move across the map and take away the Cloud9 red?
Now, it's going to be a safer move for Denial to do that, because you'll notice that Cloud9 Eclipse are setting themselves up in a lane swap, and Denial have read it perfectly. They anticipated Hjarnan and Voidal going to the top lane, so they've put Woolite as well as Super Rays there as well. So we've got the rotation from both of these teams. I want to see whether or not Kikis is going to be brave enough to go for that red. It doesn't look like he's made any notions to go for a fast blue, which means that Cloud9 Eclipse may have actually secured themselves a 3-buff start. We'll see how it plays out as Kikis continues to path.
Yeah, takes himself the Wolves, and we'll move on to that other side of the map where he's going to see, oh no, my red buff is, well, kind of gone by now. Ku, actually, he's doing his Wolves as well. Didn't go straight onto that blue, and we'll see if he actually passes over towards the red buff here first of all. Kikis just seen that that red has in fact been taken away from him, and that will make him realize that, okay, I need to make something happen from this one. This mid lane, Nidalee versus Lulu. New Lulu, we should mention as well. What do we think to this lane?
So it's going to be full farm. I think the ability to get 2 glitter lancers, I mean, you were only going to get 2 glitter lancers off for help picks once you had cooldown reduction, blue plus Athena's and Holy Grail anyway. and I don't think there's any kill threat. Without jungler assistance, both of these champions, one's got a heal, one's got a shield. So the moment Nick looks like he's going to get caught up by that javelin toss, he's just going to shield himself up, block most of the damage, and you'll notice that Febivent doesn't have a whole lot of ability power right now. Farm fest till jungle intervention.
And speaking of intervention, this top lane here, this duo, we've seen the switch coming in to leave them 2 versus 2 once again. They've been pushed on towards their turret there a little bit, but we can see that the farm staying relatively even. And here is Ko taking away his own red buff, which means that he gets 2 red buffs at the start of this one. Early advantage to him.
It is an early advantage, and I think what's more imperative to note is that Ko's not going to gain a massive amount more than Denial, but what he has done is he has denied Kikis that buff. He's denied him the experience and the added clear time. Babunya has been caught up, but there's no support from Odoamne. He may not need it.
He's actually going to have to flash here, and then we see him go over the top, but Ko is going to run in towards Kikis. Babunya goes low, and there is the first blood coming out for Ko. Is he going to get away from Kikis? Actually putting good damage in, but the Alpha Strike will get him a kill back.
Yeah, so Kikis is going to recompensate the fact that his buff was stolen by grabbing himself the double buffs off of Ko. You actually noticed over the course of the fight, because of the changing to the safeguard, Ko needed to use that safeguard on himself, block up some of that damage, and he didn't have it available to him to get back to that ward. So, unfortunately, 1v2. Confident play by Ko, nets himself first blood. Overall, I think advantage Denial, because that small slowdown to Kikis' jungle has already been balanced out.
Yep, gets himself the double buffs back, and he'll be like, ha, took the buffs, and now I've got them for longer. Good for me. In this top lane, the 2v2 Woolite definitely doing a fantastic job here. Has a 10 CS lead already, pushing once again that wave straight up onto the Cloud9 turret.
Yeah, you actually expect that at this stage of the game because of the fact that Leona has not got all-in potential. You'll notice that Voidal has just hit level 3, which is now the point that you want to start engaging. We'll get back to that top lane in a moment as Ko has set his sights on Babunya again, and he's low on mana.
No flash here for Babunya either. He used that earlier on. Odoamne actually taking a lot of damage there, but can he get away from it? Ko only needs one more hit. It's Odoamne that gets it in the end. Did use his flash to get that kill, though, to give him a bit of an advantage in that lane.
Definitely worthwhile. We talked about the fact that Denial's composition and Denial's champions will need time to scale up. If Cloud9 can continue to punish Babunya without that flash, secure kills, and get both Ko and Odoamne in an advantageous position, Denial may never get the chance to scale, may never get the chance to have a big impact. So, very smart play. Ko can just rinse and repeat every time Babunya is pushing down that lane.
Well, there is once again the wave push straight up onto Cloud9's turret. And we've seen in the past that Hjarnan has been a massive impact player for them. He has done really, really well across it. I mean, you look at their Meet Your Makers semi-final from the last series as Voidal does go in here. I'm not sure how much damage he's going to be able to do there, and he's going to be forced away once again.
So pretty smart play, like we talked about. Once Leona has access to all 3 of her core abilities, then she can start engaging. On this patch, there has been a small nerf to the Eclipse, which is Leona's W. Some of the base armor and magic resist has been dropped somewhat, which makes the decision to go in and play aggressively all that more important. The one thing you do have to note, Kayle can shred armor and magic resist with her passive. So if given enough time, all of those bonus statistics that Voidal picks up with Leona can get burned through. The key is for Super Raze and Woolite to not get instantly burst down.
Kiki's having a bit of a wander through the Cloud9 Eclipse jungle. Will get himself a Wraith camp here as well. And you see the speed at which Master Yi is able to finish those off. Ko just thrown his Q through there and realized, okay, my Wraith camp is gone, so he's around here somewhere.
So for the record, thanks to the kill that Kikis was able to secure, he already has himself this Feral Flare built up. Now Kikis is jumping on Odoamne.
This could be actually bad news for him, but Mirai's not in position, couldn't flash in, that's down, and get that room prisoned in.
And he didn't have his ultimate either. He only just got access. So that speed boost that you pick up from that Desperate Power was not there to run him down. The reason I highlight that the Feral Flare has been built up, it stacks. Ko's taking a fight, he's got a level on Kikis.
And he's landing the Q there. There's the Meditate actually coming out from Kikis, trying to keep himself healthy enough as Babunya comes around the side as well. They're going to be able to lock up Ko, but have they got the damage to finish him up? He gets kicked over the top. His flash still not up, but Nick has come down from the mid lane as well. They're safe for now.
That was such conscientious play from Ko. Saving his Dragon's Rage, I almost thought it was a mistake to save it against Kikis. I felt he could have interrupted the Meditate and then gone for the kill, but damage reduction would have applied. So the Dragon's Rage would not have dropped Kikis low enough. Thanks to saving his Dragon's Rage, he does a super smart play, knocking Babunya over the river and following through with that Sonic Wave Resonating Strike combination. So very smart play and great command over Lee Sin, which is a mechanically intense champion.
And now the top lane has finally been pushed back a little bit for Cloud9, but still hanging about 10 CS behind his kick. He's going to go low here from taking his red buff. Nick did get his blue there. We did see just a brief moment ago, and Kiki's going very, very low, taking his red, but low is not dead. He'll be happy to secure that here on its second spawn. Yeah,
I also just realized I got a bit ahead of myself. It's not a Feral's Flare yet. It needs to kill 25 large creeps before it becomes the Feral Flare. So, small correction on my part. It is the Wriggles Lantern. Still getting to grips with the artwork and the looks of it. But yes, once 25 large monsters have been killed, that is when it will upgrade. The point I was trying to make before the engage happened is that because Kick has got that Wriggles very early on, it's going to be able to stack all that much quicker. And of course, once he gets it to that Feral Flare level, it's going to be giving him a lot of additional damage, both on jungle camps as well as to champions. And that can scale infinitely. For every large monster camp he kills after it becomes that flare, it's just going to keep growing more and more and more.
Oh, Nick could be in trouble from this one. Babunia putting down a lot of damage. Nick coming in. There is the Dragon's Ascent coming down. Is he going to escape? Are they going to dive in here? Why not? Nick has got his Wild Growth available if he needs it. There is the knock-up coming out. Takes another couple of tower hits. Will survive it. That's a nice kill, but he may be hunted down now. They're coming around the side. Spear will flash by Nick. Decides, okay, I need to take a different route. Flashes as well. There's a jump to the ward from Ko. This is point blank. Surely won't miss any of his skill shots at this range. He leaves it for Febiven. He gets the kill and the blue.
So smart rotation there from Nick to start that all off. They punish Odo1 for over-aggressing. Kiana's been caught out a little bit, but Voidal's running good interference.
Yeah, Voidal just trying to keep Super A's away from that fight, and whilst Voidal, whilst Woolite could do decent damage there, still not enough to really secure those kills. They've not been back there. You can see both AD carries still on. Only that Doran's Blade as we see Voidal going once again. Has Woolite got enough HP to get away? Who needs HP when you're invisible?
Manages to get out cleanly, and remember that since the changes to Kayle a couple patches ago, intervention no longer costs mana, so that is a great option in that support role. Kickus sidesteps a Sonic Wave. He should be okay.
Really nicely done there, and actually they're going to try and turn this one around. We've got Lulu coming back into the fight. I think Kiki's realizing I'm a little bit too low there. One spear could really end things for me. Ko just trying to figure out if Kikis had gone back around towards that Wraith camp and will continue to wait things out. There is a Sonic Wave going through. Kiki's already backing off though.
Yeah, so good check by Ko. I think Ko has done very well at moving around this map. Kikis has been able to respond to the over-aggressive plays of Cloud9. In the previous setup, you know, we noticed that every time Ko's invading, Kikis has been spending some time with him. The junglers have not gone to the duo lane at all. And it is what we talked about. Because of the fact that Babunia has been punished early on, they want Ryze to get to his Archangel Staff as well as Rod of Ages as quickly as is possible. Now Ko finally, with the first rotation to the top, he's going to find a whole bunch of Denial members.
Oh, they've actually gone back though. They've gone in towards Nick. He uses that Wild Growth. That's going to be timing out here soon though, and they're chasing in nicely. Zenith Blade lands. There's the intervention. That'll keep Nick alive for now, but he gets blown to pieces by Voidal, and there is the ultimate coming out. Only gets the slowdown, and now they're chasing down Woolite underneath the tower. He's going to fall as well. Ko will pick up that kill. That's a 2-for-0. Clean stuff from Cloud9.
Flawless execution from Cloud9. They set up the dive. What you need to remember is they were the ones that wanted to dive Denial's bot lane. Denial realized that, so they were calling resources towards them. Kickers was moving to the top lane as well as Nick from that mid lane. Odo1 is not going to get dropped just yet. Now, because of the chess piece nature of that, Cloud9 start, Denial respond. Cloud9 have better positioning, they respond quicker, which means Denial's caught out of position and they end up losing those kills. You know, just realize, he was in the middle of 4 members of Cloud9. You cannot afford to be there when you're at Twitch with no escapes and facing that threat. Great start to this game from Cloud9.
5-2 up in kills now and 2,000 gold there in the lead. If we look at this solo lane, it's now down in the bottom. Odo versus Babunia, 83-77 CS. So not a massive lead, but we've already seen Babunia going down twice. Odo only died once and has a kill to his name as well. And with with that, the itemization, he's just not feeling very threatened at this point by Babunia.
If those kills had not happened, it would have been much more difficult for Odo. Odoemre's got a kill. He's had a lot of jungle presence from Ko. I think there's been 3 separate ganks or 3 separate rotations to that bottom half of the lane. You've noticed every time we look at Odoemre, it's Babunya that's keeping him shut down. Babunya's got the range and the spell power to even get through that Spirit Fist right now. Odoemre, he needs to be super careful. Kikis and the rest of Denial have already dived him once, so he's got to be very calculated with how low he stays under this tower.
Yeah, I actually had the vision there as Kikis stood on that Nidalee trap and was walking away, and I guess calculated the fact, okay, he's probably not going to come back here. Saw that Babunia basically had no mana to do anything underneath that tower, and figured he can just stick around a little bit longer and farm things up. There's another blue buff being handed over towards Nick. Last time, of course, did end up losing it going down to Febiven.
Yeah, thanks to basically Cloud9 just being in the right place. Kikis once again caught up by Ko.
This is a lot of damage coming in. There's a wild growth, flashes away. I think he was out of range of the spear then. I think he'd already sidestepped it. Meanwhile, on the top side, we are going to see the Solar Flare coming in. Super Ace goes down. I'm not sure that Woolite's going to survive this one either. Voidal's got the hell to go under the turret. It's actually Yanan that was tanking it. Ko was coming around. And again, 2 kills for nothing for Cloud9 Eclipse in the top lane.
Ko has planted a Cloud9 Eclipse flag in Denial's jungle. He has spent so much time counter-jungling and getting in the face of Kikis. Kikis playing the current hotness in the jungle, so to speak. Working towards that Feral and it's just not working out. That's a great spear from Febiven.
Oh, this could be dangerous here as well for Denial as Odoemre picks up one. He's going to chase down Kikis. We've got Febiven now going in on towards Babunia. Here comes a dragon from the side. Have they got the damage? Goes underneath the turret, realizes he needs to heal himself up. Goes back from that one, but they're going to lock down Babunia. Odoemre tanky enough to hold off the turret damage.
That was such great play. This is not the same Cloud9 that lost to Denial in the quarterfinals of the Series 2 Challenger Series. At this point in time, because of Ko's aggressive invades and incredibly deep ward control in Denial's jungle, the moment Denial respond to any of the ganks, Cloud9 are there. So this is a replay of the dragon fight that started off. Long story short, Febiven lands a great spear at max range, and this is just good calling. You'll notice that Odoemre immediately peels away from Kikis because Febiven's calling Babunya, Babunya. He's the one running the opposite direction. The team splits up, and Cloud9 just with flawless positioning.
Doing really, really well, and actually going in here. Bit deep there, possibly from Voidal, but he's feeling tanky enough right now. Does throw down his ultimate, which will stop them chasing in so far. But Babunia trying to get in range to lock up Yanan, but quite frankly, even though Voidal went very deep there, tanky enough to survive.
Yeah, again, smart play, landing the Solar Flare, which locked up Woolite, which is the right target. You want to just get that Twitch down. I'm actually very impressed by Voidal's Leona this game.
Yeah.
In the games that I've watched of Cloud9 Eclipse, I have felt that Voidal was more impactful on champions like Karma and Morgana, even his Zyra, which he's played recently. But on this Leona, he's picked the right times to jump in. You've never really felt like he's at risk of going down, even in that heavy dive. And right now, Cloud9, they're using their siege and their massive advantage to force Denial back.
Here they go on towards Kikis. Intervention is going to be used. He's going to pop his ultimate to try and run away, but Yanan going very, very deep. Had to use the wild growth. The spears continue to come through, but Cloud9 Eclipse want this tower, and to be frank, I think they might just be able to have this one away. Denial trying to turn things around, but here comes Ko. Gets the kickoff. They're all so very low here. With the next wave of minions, this tower's down.
Yeah, they're going to stick around. They've got heals, they've got support, and they've caught Babunya.
He was a little bit too far forward from that one, but they've not got the CC there. They did tank up that turret. Were able to take it down, in the spear landing onto Woolite as well. He shouldn't have been hanging around there.
Get sniped is what Febiven is yelling. They have used this early lead to gain complete map control. They have got 5 towers to the 0 of Denial, and it is all due to Ko's roaming. I am putting it all on his shoulders. Because Ko has been in the face of Kikis, and he's been shutting him down as he's roaming through the jungle and trying to get to lanes, Cloud9 have responded incredibly well. The moment Ko's like, there's somebody here, or let's dive top, let's invade, there's no hesitation from Cloud9. They've got that heavy engage that we talked about, and you'll notice that Febiven didn't offer a whole lot when they dove in, but because they got so much damage thanks to that heavy engage, Febiven's just waiting to snipe them off to secure the kills at the end of the fight.
Nice mix of damage they've got coming through, and an even nicer lead that they have at this point. We're approaching a 10,000 gold lead here for Cloud9 Eclipse. They're 10-2 up in kills, 5-0 in turrets. Denial have not had a single turret away right now, and if it continues like this, it's hard to figure out where they might take down a turret, as we see going in again on towards Kikis. Not got the damage here. Actually, Kikis has quite a bit of backup with Nick around the side.
So when you look at the champions of Denial, we touched on in champions like how Ryze, Yi, as well as Lulu are going to take time to scale up. Ko's going to at least use that safeguard over the wall. Much longer cooldown because it's connected. But look at this. Ko is so aggressive and so confident that when he lands a Sonic Wave, the psychological pressure that Denial are like, well, we don't actually know where they all are. We don't have full vision, so maybe we should back off. And that's exactly what Ko just straight up, bluffed his way out of that engage. To get back to the champions, Denial have picked a composition that needed to go even in the laning phase and outscale Cloud9 in the mid to late game. Ryze is nowhere near his power spike. He's been forced to buy a Negatron cloak before even finishing his Archangels. And Cloud9 are just going to start sieging, using the poke from Nidalee, and if anyone gets too close, Lee Sin and Shyvana will just knock them all away.
There's that lane pushed up. Ko going around the side. Sonic Wave not quite connecting, but here is Febiven, and he can just move up the side there. Even though they've got the vision of him, that's totally fine, because they'll all start to step back once those spears start coming flying through. That wave just wiped out instantly. And yes, you've got a bit of a heal coming out there from Super A's, but it's not going to be enough to hold up to the damage that they can come to. Actually, Kikis going to go diving in. Solar Flare goes down as well. Voidal tanking up the damage at the front as they kill off Kikis, and they've turned straight in. There's a Dragon diving right to the front as well. Odoram, they're going a little bit deeper. We see again the spears coming from that backside, and they're connecting to do so much damage.
So they end up trading 1 for 0, and Voidal gets away with his life. He went so incredibly low during that engage, but timed it perfectly. Now, thanks to the fact that Cloud9 have got a stronger heal on Nidalee, and they outranged Denial, Ko is just going to look for a Sonic Wave. He's threatened Denial back, and the rest of Cloud9 are going to secure this inner turret. Cloud9 wanted the objective, they got it, they back away.
Backing away, not losing. Again, a single man from that one. Yes, only a 1 for 0, but it's the objectives that they were looking for there, and they will back away with, I'm sure, quite a lot of gold to spend by this point as well. If we look down some of the items, I'm going to look at Kyanan here first, because he's working up towards that Trinity Force, already got his Bloodthirster complete.
Approaching 20 minutes, having this gold lead and having this item lead, Odo Wanmu with the makings of a Sunfire Cape, as well as having that Banshee's Veil completed. He's not really afraid of anybody on the side of Denial. There's no penetration from Ryze yet. Kikis, yes, he's got a Brutalizer built in there, but he gets melted so quickly, he can't stay in a fight long enough to get those auto attacks off.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, Cloud9 have now reached those inhibitor turrets. They're the last ones on the map, and because they've had complete control of Denial's jungle, Cloud9 are most likely going to look for a spear to land and then just tower dive. They've got such strong tower diving champions with Shyvana and Leona. I mean, Voidal just went 1v2, just zoned them away, and Denial are running. They're retreating. They can't fight.
Actually, they had vision that was just Voidal there, but I guess they were still a little bit scared of whether they pushed around one of the other avenues there in the jungle to come in and be picking up kills. But it just shows you the respect that Denial are having to give to every single player on this Cloud9 team.
That's the thing. If they'd actually engaged in Voidal and you can keep both Ryze and Yi busy, it opens up those other lanes to heavy pushing. So it's a calculated risk. Yeah, we may lose Voidal, we may lose our support Leona, but we could gain 50% of the inhibitor turret HP gone, which makes it so much easier to secure on a tower dive later on. So I think very smart play. The story of this game has been purely that Cloud9 have rotated around the map incredibly well, and Ko's just 1v1 for life.
Yeah, 1v1.
Wow.
That was pretty sick stuff, just kicking him back, getting the knock up as well, and he'll say, nope, you're not going to catch me today. Kick is actually speeding on after him here, but you're not going to be able to catch out that Lee Sin. And right now, if you do try and catch him out, you might fall foul of the rest of the team coming around. There is Kick is coming in. Voidal lands that Zenith Blade, is going to put down the ulti, and there is the death.
1,
Chasing
2,
in
3.
too far.
It's not over yet. Cloud9 on the inhibitor turret now. Denial were out of position in the bottom lane. They're trying to pick a fight.
They just can't do anything
No.
to them. They've not got the damage. They've not got relative items when you look at what Cloud9 are packing right now. I mean, Kyanan is pretty much a full big item as well in front of Woolite at this point.
A massive, massive advantage. As it stands, Denial need to defend these 3 turrets for 20 minutes. If they do not stall out for the next 15 or 20 minutes, that is their only chance of survival. And I don't even think that's actually possible, because their wave clear is not the safest. Kayle is pretty short range with their Righteous Fury. Lulu does not have the ability to have multiple Glitter Lancers right now, on the minion wave to have distance. And you're not really going to use Yi to alpha strike in. So it's going to be a difficult defense here for Denial without having the likes of a Ziggs or the likes of the wave clear from Orianna, for example.
So where's the plan here? We see that Cloud9 making sure that they've got full-on vision control, and actually they've started off Baron at this point. Yanan just keeping everyone away. Meanwhile, a 3-man Baron attempt coming in from Cope, Voidal, and odoamne. I say attempt, they got to be able to take it down easy peasy.
Denial can't do anything about this. I mean, they haven't left their base. If you look at the amount of wards that Cloud9 have over Denial's jungle, it's complete vision control. And if anybody does come in to try and set something up, all you're going to have is Voidal peeling, throwing down his Solar Flare, catching him with Zenith Blade, and taking him out. So just extending this gold lead is now 14,000. With Baron buff on and the regen, they need to start sieging now. They've got this 4-minute window where they're even more powerful. Not that they needed it, but now it's like a guaranteed safer tower dive. And I think if Cloud9 don't punish Denial even more now, their window of victory is going to get smaller. I mean, look, it's 14k. It's their game to lose now.
Yeah.
But they can't allow Denial the time that they need to get the items that they want.
By a long way. I mean, we've just seen them backing off there after that Baron pickup. Yanan finished off the Trinity Force, almost picked up a last wisp. They got the pickaxe and that long sword. We saw the Sunfire Cape finished off by odoamne. He also picked up another Giant's Belt. There's a Rabadon's Death Cap and an extra blasting one in the mid lane for Febiven as well. Voidal is feeling so tanky now with that Warden's Mail in there and all the extra resistances and health that he's got, that he's not scared. We saw it a minute ago in the top lane that he'll dive in onto 2 guys without too much hesitation.
So I want to touch on one thing. Voidal's picked up the Face of the Mountain, which has also been changed this patch. Lower HP per 5, but higher max HP. It actually gives you the same amount of hit points as a Randian Zoman at 500 in slot. What I like about this heavy counter jungling and aggressive jungle play from Cloud9 is you'll notice Kikis has only about to get his Feral Blades 1 stack away right now at 24. At 25 minutes in the game, he hasn't started stacking that bonus damage. And it's because Kikis has not had access to his jungle. Kikis doesn't even have access to his lane. Cloud9 just pushed him away, and they've secured a tower uncontested. And
they're going to keep going on this one. We see the spears flying through again. Kikis will catch another one, and this is the first inhibitor going down. No way in hell that Denial can hold on to that one. And they're simply going to rotate here. Top lane is pushed quite heavily. Bottom lane is actually pushing back there, but honestly, with 2 inhibs going down here momentarily, it's looking like this is game 1 for Cloud9.
I completely agree with that. And you'll notice, look how far back Denial is sitting. Their wave clear is such short range. Super Race goes in, and you immediately feel like he's at threat of dying. Kikis gets an Alpha Strike off, but it's such ineffective wave clear. Cloud9 have taken off a third of the tower's HP with a half-hearted attempt to defend from Denial.
And they've got no vision over the top of the wall here, which makes it easy pickings for Febiven. He just throws a spear towards the general direction of the group there, and he's pretty much landed 75% of those at this point. There's Super Ace catching himself another one, and they're trying to hold on, but look at odoamne. He's just tanking up that turret.
Yeah, look at the amount of health and HP and everything. Like, there's so many resistances on Cloud9. They've got Baron to regen as well. Constant spears. At this point, Tao's gonna go, that's a flash!
They're gonna go in for this one, but there we see the counter-engage Solar Flare coming down. odoamne dives in there as well, and this is gonna be surely a whitewash. Woolite very, very low. They switch around towards Babunia and to Super Ace. They're having to flash back up towards the fountain, which they do get to. Wow, no, not quite. Poor Babunia, he gets a spear to the back, and this could be game right here.
That is game. There are super minions from the middle lane. They're onto the Nexus turrets, and Denial are so far behind. Super Ace is in trouble going down as well.
Super Ace taking damage. He does get off to the fountain. Another spear does hit him, though, but he's got enough health, and that is going to be game number 1 going over towards Cloud9 Eclipse. And I hate to say it for Denial, but that was a very, very, very dominating